First of all, yesterday's meeting, you weren't surprised, or were you, that they walked out?
No, because we've already communicated very intensively with each of the G20 member countries, and we know that with the war in Ukraine, there is a strong response to that, and many of the G7 plus saying that they cannot be in the same room with Russia. They cannot accept the invitation that will be extended to the Russia. But I said, as a presidency, it is our job to make sure that this forum will continue, hold the meeting and pursuing the agenda. It is not business as usual because globally the risk has been tilting to the very high with this war.
So how do you prevent it becoming business as usual? Because you've got the G20 in Bali coming up later this year. You're going to have, I mean, Janet Yellen's already said she ain't going if the Russian finance minister turns up. It's a leaders level meeting. I imagine in Jakarta there are many people, yourself including, say, what are we going to do?
Well, a lot of sympathy. In fact, actually, all the G20 member countries sympathize with our position. Because on the one hand, privately, they said that they want this cooperation as a premier economic forum for collaboration need to be continued, need to be preserved. But at this very moment, when they see the conflict in Ukraine or war in Ukraine, that creates also a challenge for the global stability.
So, I mean, there has been talk, which is not Indonesia's area, but there's been talk. President Biden said he'd happily kick Russia out of the G20, but that will require the other members to agree, and that's not going to happen.
Well, it is a consensus base. The G20 was established based on the consensus, right, and the governance is based on consensus. So if it is up to only one country, it is not consensus.
Right, but will the G20 happen in Bali?
Yes, certainly. It will.
Right. Let's talk about economics. Because if we look amongst the G20, your own country, for example, higher commodity prices. If we look in Southeast Asia, clobbered by higher commodity prices, you know, it doesn't really matter the source. The reality is higher interest rates, higher commodity prices, higher inflation, lower growth. Your part of the world, Southeast Asia, is being clobbered and will be hurt.
Well, it is actually hurting all the country, especially developing and emerging country. First, with the high commodity price, high inflation, high interest rate, that's definitely have a different dynamic and threatening the global recovery. For Indonesia, we are actually enjoying some of this commodity boom, but we also have a pressure in creating stability on price for the people so that they can afford to consume food and energy. So this is really a policy dilemma.
I'm not aging you in any way any more than myself, but we've both been around these economic things for some time. Is this the most difficult in terms of, I mean, Indonesia had its really bad problems in the 90s, but is this the most difficult in terms of global economics because of the undercurrents of inflation, interest rates, war in Ukraine, high debt levels?
It is really a very difficult and challenging, complex, multifaceted crisis or challenge. And that's why when we discuss in the G20, we are talking about this high debt for the many low-income countries. We are talking also about the high commodity, high interest rate and inflation, and also the threatening for the recovery itself.
Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.